story like the last time I played before they updated it this time, but I'm like, I could not be bothered.
I don't blame you, because I'll tell you what, while Darkness might not be that bad of a boss fight, I beat him in like 2 turns. The boss fight you have to fight before that, which is like the last Candy Kingdom boss, he is terrible.
Wreck-It Ralph world in general is hard. Like, I wouldn't mind being called with global if Wreck-It Ralph just wasn't as hard as it was. I don't know why it's so difficult.
Yeah, the second we stepped into Wreck-It Ralph territory, every enemy just got like a huge boost.
Yeah, like the damage scaling on the Wreck-It Ralph world is ridiculous. And what's good, people coming into the live stream? Hi. We're just talking, and I'm going to be tweeting out the stream. Then we'll start the official discussion. Or we can start now, it doesn't matter.
We could.
I already know something I definitely gotta bring up a little bit.
It's like this every time. I plan to be productive, and then Union Cross drops a story update, and that basically determines my whole day. Every time. Hey, but at least we'll know when the last one is coming out, so I can plan around it.
Wreck-It Ralph is the reason you quit Union Cross.
I do not blame you. I don't blame you for a second.
Kind of. But I'm definitely about to catch up soon. I mean, I'm probably just going to spend all my jewels because I might as well, right? Me and brother shut down. Yo, is that Milku in my live stream? Yo, why are you awake, Milk? Actually, wait, it's 12. Okay, see, my time's all messed up. I woke up way earlier than I should have today. Okay, so that it is like nighttime for you. But hi, how are you doing? You don't come to my streams that often. Alright, streams tweeted out. And we're good. Okay. So, Noir.
Yep.
Should we just continue the discussion we were having earlier with Jordan about the well, Strelitzia or Ven, whatever you want to say.
Whoever's in the cloak.
Whoever's in the cloak, yeah. Limit, who do you think? Do you think Ven's in the cloak, likely, right?
Yeah, all signs would point to it.
I don't think so. I don't. Just because I pointed this out earlier to John, because the timeline where this is happening is like what, roughly like after the war happens or whatever, and like we are like in the data world along with all the union leaders. Ventus should already be in there, so he should already be in the data world, so it wouldn't make sense for Lushu to be carrying his body in the real world, about to send him forward in time.
Well, here's the thing about that, because I do agree that I think the time placement of that scene is really weird, but the thing that makes it weird is the fact that that scene takes place in the real world and not the data world. The reason we know this is because the last time we saw the arc in Union Cross, it was used. Maleficent used that thing and like busted it up using it in the data world. Now, I think we did see another cutscene of her showing up in the real world after, right? Something like that, or am I mistaken?
No, I
Talking about Strelitzia?
Yeah, no, seeing Maleficent like after she used the arc show back up in the real world. And
there's a cutscene where like she's like, wait, am I still in the same place?
Yeah.
And Darkness like, well, like, no, you're just no longer in the data world.
Yep, and the thing that throws me off even more is that Darkness at the beginning of the cutscene says, now onto the data world, and let me pull up my tweet right here, because I made a tweet about this. Darkness said, yeah, now to check on the data, talking about the data Daybreak Town, right? Because you can see the worlds and stuff on stream. And then that's when Lucy walks up, and during a conversation, Darkness also says there shouldn't be any Keyblade Masters left in this world, talking about the Foretellers. They're in the real world, there's no more Keyblade Masters there aside from Lucio himself.
There's still 7 pods in that cutscene, right?
Huh?
There's still 7 pods in that cutscene, right? To show that it takes place before Maleficent took one.
Well, hold on,
I have to look back.
But when Maleficent takes one, it's not. I don't think the pod in the data world gets destroyed. But I don't think the pod in the real world does.
No, because when she left Data Daybreak Town, you see that the pod all the way to the right is gone, which is the one that she used. And
you're right.
When she shows up in the real world, it's there, but it's open, and then she's about to go back in it. So, and yeah, I'm looking at the scene right now. The pod is gone. So this is after Maleficent leaves.
Yeah. So this will be after Maleficent leaves from the real world.
So yeah, it can't be Ventus. It can't be.
No, it's still That's weird. Hold on.
Because this whole thing would be happening parallel to Ventus having a panic attack, while remembering what he did to Charlottesville.
It's really weird. Because, okay, that would be one question, right? Because the timeline of the scene matters a lot. The other question would be, why is Luciu still there?
Well, apparently the master told him to. The master told him to do what he did.
He is supposed to watch, admittedly. So, like, I guess Luciu is just chilling in the real world. I don't know. What do you think, Limit? It says there's a lot of weirdness around that scene. I most likely think it's Ventus because of the cloak and all the indication points towards Ventus. But the little bits of inconsistencies that I'm thinking about, it's like, what if?
I really can't see it being anyone other than Ventus, and I guess for the simple, I forget what he says exactly. The darkness saying that this is the true dandelion, and then something else about him being the light or whatever, the start of something, whatever. And I'm sitting here like, well, if it is Ventus, it would make sense to me, because once he sends Ventus, the whole thing in the actual real world starts. He gets connected to Sora. Sora is, the big, main person of the story or whatever. All the events, everything that revolves around all these characters, Sora is in the center of it all. So I'm sitting here like, if it wasn't for Ventus being there, or I guess if it really is Ventus being there, it would actually make sense that it would kickstart the rest of the series. But at the same time, I don't know.
Well, actually, we need to remember that Luciu wrote in one of the reports that one of the Union leaders wasn't meant to be there. Like, they weren't chosen. They pulled the old switcheroo, and he attributed that to that being the virus and everything. So I don't think Ventus was really chosen for anything.
Yo, is that the boy Raji in the chat? What's good, dude? How's it going?
Like, what do you think about that, Limit?
My hero man himself.
It brings me back to what was. So apparently, this is regarding Brain at least. He wasn't supposed to receive.
Your mic's popping a little bit, bud.
He wasn't supposed to get the Book of Prophecies. He was chosen as a Union leader. It's just that the one who was supposed to get the Book of Prophecies, because one of the 5 was supposed to get it, Brain wasn't the one.
Yeah. Okay. Is my mic okay?
I think now it is.
It seems good right now, but it was like popping a little bit during what.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It was fine though.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. I don't know. I can't really imagine it being anybody else in that group. No. At least to where it would make sense later on.
Yeah. I made a list. I made a list of who I think the possible people are.
I was just about to talk about that actually. I have seen a lot of other topics. For me personally, if it's not Ventus, it's Strelitzia, and it's nobody else. I've seen a lot of Kairi. I've seen a lot of Aqua as well. And that's not. I did say Aqua. My bad. Ava. My bad. My bad.
I was about to say
Ava. I mean, to be honest, both are crazy. Kairi's even crazier to me. But
Kairi is not I think too crazy.
I do, because we already see her in the arc.
We already see her in the pod without the cloak. So why would you add a cloak to that? I guess I don't know.
So we're saying she went through the arc twice, and who's her vessel then, if that's the case? Because it separates her body.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I suggested that it might be Luxord, solely because of what was stated both in the character files for Zigbar, as well as what Luke Sword says at the beginning of Remind. He says, a black goat stashes away a letter and then sends a white goat to find it. And Lushu is wearing a black coat, sending someone in a white coat off. So I just felt like that's an interesting parallel to point out. That can't be a coincidence.
That is interesting, but I don't think we're supposed to read into it too much, because that would then question Luxord's knowledge in that instance, and I don't think he'd know about any of this stuff, not right now. But who knows? He's a mystery right now. But that is very interesting to point. That is an interesting parallel. Another cool writing thing I wanted to point out. I don't know. I kind of just love this. This made me like Ventus a lot more. Don't you guys find it funny how Ventus is the imposter? Let's say he is the one in the pod, right? Let's assume that Ventus is the imposter. He's the one he's the one who wasn't meant to be among the five who were supposed to, reignite, I guess the keylorders, to let the light survive. But he's the true dandelion, to speak. Like, he's the pure light.
He is the pure light. Yeah.
I just find that interesting. He's the imposter, he's the pure light. I don't know. I feel like I feel like that's sort of poetic in a weird way.
So if there are beings made from pure darkness and there are pure light beings that are made to be equivalent to them, and we know that there's more than one darkness being, that brings up an interesting topic, because that means that Ven probably isn't the only one who is a being of pure light.
Yeah, but potentially. But
he might be the only Keyblade wielder.
Well, Kyrie's one.
Kyrie's one too, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, but Kyrie's a little different because she is a piece of the Keyblade. Not a equivalent to a race of dark beings.
But the issue with that though is we know for a fact that Kyrie's been a pure light since she was born. You can tell this by Ansem Seeker reports as well. For Ventus and everything surrounding him, a lot of it's kind of just, it's like we now know Ventus is a pure light as well, but does it, I don't know, the series almost indicates, like, does it matter if you're born a pure light as long as you just are one? I don't know.
Princess of Heart, somebody said in the chat. That's a good point, kind of. Because, I mean, we have 7 princesses, the original 7 princesses, and then I'm not sure where that went in KH3. I'm pretty sure there was, like, new ones, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it was stated that after they were used to make the Keyblade of people's hearts,
you know
and
what?
Sora
That's
freed
probably
their
the
heart,
7 crowns.
that
I
they
just thought
passed
about
on their
that.
power. I don't want to think those are the crowns, because
that could be the 7 crowns. I mean, or it could be one of them, like a backup sort of thing.
I don't want to think those are the crowns, because if they were talking about the princess, they would have said princesses, not crowns.
Why would they though?
Because, like, what would be the point of using a different terminology for them when we are already familiar with them and know what they're talking about?
Just to be mysterious for the sake of it, like Kingdom Hearts does all the time. They were super mysterious about Ventus's, like, kind of purpose in Union Cross, even though we've had an idea for a long time. Like, we already knew beforehand he was a pure light, but they never really made it anything super significant until now.
Can we also talk about how Ventus is supposed to be a pure light but wields a darkness-centered Keyblade?
Does he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it called? What's the Keyblade
Missing
called?
Missing egg?
Yeah, Missing Egg.
Is that
yeah.
darkness centered? Okay.
Yeah, that's a reverse Keyblade.
It is interesting. So, hold on, is Ventus... This is something I want to talk about. My chat the other day, last night, they kind of thought, they kind of had the same suspicion too. So, is Ventus like a organic pure light? Because the explanation is a little weird. Is Ventus a pure light because, that's who he is? Or is he a pure light because darkness, like, ripped away all the darkness from him? Because that's kind of, the way they described it almost made it seem that way. Like, darkness just reshaped itself through, Ventus, by using Ventus's darkness, taking it for itself, sort of thing.
I think we might get an answer to that by the next I think it's the last update that's coming up next month, right? So I
Yeah.
think we might get the answer to that question in that update. I would assume that it was like he's not a nat. Well, I don't know. It's kind of weird because it would lead you to assume, right, that
The
after
update
this
led me to believe
update-
that it was natural.
Yeah, exactly. And then I look at Birth by Sleep or whatever, and it's like, well,
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I think that's the biggest thing, because like I know a lot of people like have debated with me for like the past year and a half about Ventus is like a pure heart on. Like he's definitely a pure heart question mark, because it's like they say he is, right? But then logically, what darkness are you ripping out of? Are you ripping out of Ventus? Like they're like the terminology they use to describe Vanitas doesn't fit, you know, what Ventus would technically theoretically be. Because think about, let's compare this to Kairi, for example. The reason Naminé was created, the reason Naminé is the way she is, the reason she has her powers is because she's a nobody, not born from any darkness, not born essentially without like a body or a soul or something like that.
Or she was born from Sora's body and soul.
Yeah, exactly. But the reason for that partially is because Kairi didn't like, she didn't have any real darkness in her. So you had this weird mixture of a lot of things that formed, you know, Naminé. With Ventus, when you rip Ventus's darkness out, it's just like you get Vanitas with or if that's debatably not his darkness now. But when I don't think you can do that with people like Kairi, for example. So like I'd consider the Princesses of Heart like organic pure lights. That's kind of how I sort of feel in a way.
So here's sort of my headcanon as to what the deal was with darkness and the whole Vanitas thing and all that. So I think that when Ven gives darkness a physical form to keep itself from dying, it hid itself deep within Ventus, and as Vanitas stated, all Xehanort did was tear him right out of Ventus. And then of course all that happens in Birth by Sleep with Vanitas and everything. So I think that was the issue. And of course like as stated by Ienzo with the hearts inside of Sora, they essentially melded with Sora's heart after enough time. So it could be the same with darkness, and that darkness essentially, in a sense, melded with Ven's heart. And then when Xehanort ripped darkness out of Ventus and created Vanitas, Ventus was still like in the end the same natural pure light boy. It's just that the darkness that was once melded with him is now back out as its own person. It's just that people believe that was just his darkness.
Yeah. How could Ventus be a pure light if his darkness ends up being Vanitas? Vanitas wouldn't exist if he was a pure light. Well, it's because you could debatably say that darkness was using Ventus as a not a vessel per se, but he was like hidden inside him for a minute. So honestly, off of this update alone, right? Like let's say if the next update doesn't build on top of this or provides any new info, just off of this update, as of right now, we can kind of say that the Vanitas' darkness theories technically were true to an extent. I know
that tasted terrible coming out of your mouth.
No, not really, actually. Because I feel like everyone was right on that theory. The people who said Vanitas wasn't darkness, the people who were like Vanitas, you know, is. It's like a little bit of a mixture. Because it's like what you guys were saying, the Vanitas is darkness people. Everyone was like, Vanitas is the darkness. He's the solo entity. Like that thing talks to the master. That's Vanitas right there. No, that's just darkness is a mob mentality. Like I figured, like that infects people, infects worlds. Like it's funny because in a literal sense, because it's funny because we've been fighting it the whole Cage series technically, but I think this arc is going to be us fighting in a more literal sense. We're literally fighting darkness right now. Like that's what it is. Like this darkness I'm acknowledging as the darkness that like encompasses the cage universe, sort of thing. That's how I feel about it. It makes sense to be that too, because I don't know, the way it presents itself, like it's been around for so long. The master, like, I'm tired of fighting you, so he's put this plan in place. Like, it seems like this darkness is the same darkness we've been fighting throughout a lot of the Cage series, but more concentrated.
Because we're dealing with pure darkness from people, not darkness that has melded with people's hearts. And like, we're just fighting the result of that. We're just fighting pure concentrated darkness.
Yeah. What are you saying, Limit?
I was trying to recall, because I'm pretty sure it was said in the first Cage game, but didn't they say, well, besides, I guess, the 7 princesses, unless this has changed, that everybody, or everyone is born with darkness in their heart, right?
Yes.
Like, with light and darkness, it's an equal thing.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here like, if that is the case, then Vin can't be, like, organic, I guess, in a manner of speaking.
Yeah. Maybe
Well,
organic pure hearts just don't exist, perhaps.
Well, actually, something just came up in my head about this.
It's weird.
So, I mean, like you said, Limit. People. It was stated that people are born with both light and darkness. Now, it was stated that darkness came in people's hearts when the darkness beings just melded with the people, right? But so then that makes me think about unreality, because it's like it's a world that's neither of light nor darkness, and essentially the people in unreality could be in the similar state that the people in our reality were before darkness came and melded with people's hearts. What do you think?
I think it's a good way of thinking. I don't know. I'm trying to juggle like 5 things at once right now. This is Cage, by the way. This is what Cage does to me. I don't know.
All of us.
Like, I just don't know anymore. Like, I'm trying to juggle all these things in my head. Darkness is a part. I was gonna say something else. I'm reading over the wiki right now, the Cage wiki, trying to remember the specific phrase that I remember hearing about darkness, but I can't seem to find it. So just give me a second. Talk amongst yourselves.
I think, okay, something I wanted to bring up. I'm very interested in this arc because I think right off the bat we already have extremely good antagonist-ish. I don't know, because I'm iffy on calling the Master an antagonist, but well, he probably is an antagonist. I don't know if he's the villain though. But the Master and Darkness are 2 characters I think have really great chemistry with each other, and the Master also works well with like every character on screen I've seen him with so far personally. So I think leading this new arc with characters that interesting just right off the bat, because a lot of people love the Master off of his initial introduction in back cover. I mean, we knew about him in Key Browser, but didn't see that much of him, so I'd count his introduction in back cover. But like leading this arc with those characters I think is going to be beautiful, and the Unicross cast also has a lot of interest with them as well. There's a sense of mystery Unicross kind of gives off that really reminds me of like the old school like Kingdom Hearts 1 days, where we were constantly just we didn't know nothing. We didn't know anything. Had no idea where they were heading, what Disney World Sora was going to visit next. It's like it gives me that sort of feeling entering this new saga, which is how a new saga should kind of start. And Quadram is a big part of this, but I'm thinking, because if they're going this route of like, you know, literally fighting darkness, light, like the whole light versus darkness thing, I wonder what the end goal of this might end up being, if it's the one we think or not. I feel like with Quadram, I have a suspicion that this might end up being a world, perhaps. They said it's a world neither of light nor darkness, but I wonder if that's necessarily true, perhaps. Maybe it's a world where light and darknesses aren't at war with each other constantly. Maybe they just kind of coexist like it does in the real world, I guess you can say. like I wonder where Nomura's going with Quadratum, especially since the Master doesn't know about it. That was the biggest surprise to me in this update. Not Ventus being a pure light, not them sending Ventus to the future. We already knew about that. Them confirming the Master doesn't know much about Quadratum, a world he can't even conceive. That's surprising to me. That's very surprising. So that means literally none of our characters really know about this world, and Sora, Yozora, Riku, they're also be the first ones to kind of step foot in it, sort of, or maybe not the first, but they're the first on our side, I guess you can say. So I'm interested in where they're going for sure.
Well, Xehanort definitely knew about it, so Sora and Riku and the Master may not be the first ones. So Sora and Riku and the Master may not be the first ones to set foot in that uncharted territory. There may have been someone, and they were the only person to provide the information, and that's how Xehanort got it. But as far as just like how many people have like gone from like our reality to unreality, yeah, Sora and Riku would definitely be one of the first people. Now there's actually something that I just thought about because something just came up on Twitter about it, about the person in the cloak being Ava. Let's not forget that it's stated to be that person is the true Dandelion, and not only that, but this is apparently happening. I know the timeline placement for this cutscene is a little iffy, but if it's like happening like sometime after the war and everything,
it's probably not, to be honest. I'm looking back at it.
Like the only person that Lushu had ever been in contact with since he left with the box was Ava.
The self-cleaning?
So you think Lushu beat up Ava and is carrying her body and sending it to the future?
Maybe, because when he looks around, he's like, I guess Ava didn't make it after all. Maybe there's a good reason why he said that.
Perhaps that is the reason. You know what? I'm leaning less and less towards, I definitely think the person in the pod's likely Ven, but it's possible it's Strelitzia. But I'm trying to think from like, which I'm gonna definitely be wrong, but I'm trying to think from like the writer's perspective. I feel like anything Strelitzia related would probably be like secret ending stuff rather than in the finale. I don't know.
That's true. I know. Oh, I look at that key art or whatever of all the Union Cross characters, and you see the person in the black coat that's holding the flower.
Yeah.
The bleeding heart vine.
Yeah. Has that ever been addressed, or do we just assume that's her? Or
that has never been addressed yet.
I've always assumed that was Strelitzia.
And I pointed out that the flower choice is interesting because I pointed this out in a video before, but the bleeding heart vine is a flower that's typically used to represent an untimely death of a person, typically a young female.
Which is why I think it's Strelitzia personally. So
yeah, I can see it's either Ven or Strelitzia. I feel like it's just either those two and nobody else. I don't think it's anybody else besides those two because number one, she was already in a white robe. I guess I'm not sure if it was the same thing, but
so
it makes sense.
I'm looking at this cutscene on screen, guys. So in this cutscene in the Data world, what so are we just assuming the Data world and the real world share the same arc or something? Like, hold on.
Maybe because we see Maleficent get in the Data world, and then we see her come out of the one from the real world.
All right, so on my stream right now, this arc after they fight, Marluxia gets freaking washed. Worst Keyblade wielder. Oh my gosh, I have to scroll all the way through all of these cutscenes.
How do you get washed by the most basic of bosses in the Kingdom Hearts series?
Okay. And then the next cutscene is the arc destroyed, and Lorium being on the ground, just getting cooked. He's visioning Strelitzia and stuff. This arc is destroyed. This one's gone in this cutscene, though.
Right.
So.
And then when we see Maleficent arrive in the real world, that pod is open.
Yeah. So let me double check that too. Hold on. Where's where's the scene where she gets back from there? Is that escape? Yep. All right.
So then here's another question. If the
Yep,
ark,
exactly. Mhm.
if the ark wasn't found and then just placed inside Radiant Garden, that means that someone recreated it. So who gave them the info and tools necessary to recreate the ark in Radiant Garden?
But hold on, arc is not quite that versatile. So they use that arc just to get out of the data world. That's what they use that for. So the arc can be used to just transfer between worlds, likely a similar method to how Kyrie got to Destiny Islands in the first place.
Well, that was the intended purpose of the arc when it was first being developed.
And they got in this pod. So okay, so Maleficent got back in that same pod after this. So that same pod right there, that's the pod she got in. And where's they don't have this part updated, but okay, we can look back at the most recent cutscene. And which one was it? The Seed of Light. And yep, that arc is in fact gone, and this one is in fact intact. And we can assume, right? Darkness
it's
traveled.
gone.
Darkness traveled with Maleficent after
No, Darkness said he still has some stuff to do.
No. I was saying Darkness traveled with Maleficent to the real world. That's what I was saying. But didn't travel with her to, her time period. Of course, I mean, Darkness is everywhere likely, and that's when this cutscene transition. I don't know why I'm looking at the JP version, but we know what it says. All right, and that's when Lucio walks in right after. Okay, so. That time, when you look at the timeline like that, that makes sense. But the issue is, during the time right after Laurium gets, beat up, which we can assume that's when all that takes place, right? Laurium's on the ground, maybe he just got confrontation with Darkness. Darkness theoretically can be at multiple places at once. It's Darkness. It's not just.
Well, it's more than one being.
Yeah, it's more than one.
That's dark. It's more than one person.
Exactly, it's more than one being. So it's Darkness is allowed to be here. However, for this to be Ventus,
it's not possible because
it's
we know
really
that
weird for that to be Ventus, right? It's so
it's
weird.
not possible because Ventus is in the data world, freaking out about his memories coming back to him at this point in time.
Yeah.
So
That's the weird. That's the
yeah.
weird part. Okay. The timeline here, now let's go to Ventus's timeline during all of this. So, I'm gonna scroll through this site like this. So, where am I here? I don't care which cutscene I click on. Okay, so that's Maleficent. This is the Strelitzia. Okay, this is Ventus sleeping, being after, having a little moment being confronted by Brain and stuff. That's like what's going on during that time, because Laurium wasn't in any of those scenes. So Ventus is asleep right now, remembering what Darkness did to Strelitzia. Wakes up immediately after that. I'd assume Ventus and Laurium wake up around the same time. Laurium comes in just raging, and Ventus comes in yo, it's my fault, and Laurium just starts going crazy on him. Yeah, so how?
It can't be Ventus. It absolutely cannot be.
Unless, hold on. Here's a way it could be Ventus. After that cutscene, where Ventus goes to Darkness, freaking frame 3 DPs him into the wall.
Exactly, right?
After that happens, it's possible that Darkness has won that fight. I mean, you're not beating Darkness, right? I mean, the Master said it himself in this same update. That is very unlikely Ventus won, and it does look like a portal here or something, but it's very unlikely Ventus won. This could easily be Ventus going to the real world, but that would also beg the question why Maleficent even took the arc in the first place. But then again, that's probably, they did that on purpose to start a chain of events. So backtracking, Ventus could have just lost here, and that's how Lushu got him. But then that's the other thing, why Darkness questions Lushu in this scene. So I feel like that's unlikely. Like Darkness doesn't even know why Lushu's here, and Darkness obviously didn't do that intentionally. But maybe Darkness has left Ventus's body lying on the ground out there or something. I don't get it. I don't get it.
But that would all be happening in the data world, and this is the real world that we're seeing right now.
I know, that's the thing. Like, I'm saying it's possible for Ventus during his fight with Darkness to be, he could have went to the real world. Who knows, right? Like, it's not impossible completely. But the timeline that makes the most sense is the one where Ventus is still, he's in the confrontation with the Union leaders, and Strelitzia is that coat. But that's weird. They need to tell me when this takes place. I don't know. Limit, do you understand what I'm saying, or is what I'm saying is jumble?
No, I understand exactly what you're saying, and it just makes more questions than answers because this update is all over the place.
Like, you can understand the Strelitzia argument though because of that.
Yeah, of course. Like, because the Ventus argument now, it makes a lot of sense to me now that I'm thinking about it. So it's like the only person that it realistically could be is Strelitzia, but I mean,
her body faded away.
Yeah, exactly. Her body faded away, and the only
the
only reason I'm saying it is her is because
she communicated to Larium in a dream.
That's what I'm saying. Like, she communicated with him through like another means. I'm not sure how. I guess when he was knocked out, but
she also had a white coat, so that's
exactly. That's the only reason why I said it could be her.
Chat, let's do a poll right quick. Before we do the poll though, hit that like button on the stream. Make sure you subscribe to Limitform72 and Noir. I'll type their links in the chat. But
say there's 130 of y'all in here, and the like is only at 45. Come on, dog. Like the stream, dog.
I don't like these proportions. I don't.
But all right, we're going to do a poll. Everyone, just say one word. Either say Ventus or Strelitzia if you think it's one. Okay, we'll just restrict it to those two. If you think it's Ventus, it's most likely to be Ventus. Say Ventus. If you think it's most likely to be Strelitzia, say Strelitzia. I want to see what you guys think. Who do you think it is? Because this timeline is weird. This is a weird timeline. Now, there is a possibility they just copy and pasted the arc textures, and they actually didn't think about the arc being disappeared. But I don't think they
no, I think Nomura would have been very careful about that.
Yeah, Nomura probably like is hands off with the Disney stuff, but he's super hands on with the finale and whatnot. I can imagine.
I'm seeing a lot of Ven.
Yeah, I see a lot of Ven too.
Like a lot of whoever said Goofy, no, just no.
Because the thing is with Ventus is
you're not helping.
The reason the reason it's easier to say Ventus is because it makes the Birth by Sleep timeline make a lot more sense. But that doesn't, I don't know. Like, Ventus doesn't have to. We know that Ventus somehow, some way ends up in BBS. It doesn't have to be now. He could just as easily leave when all the other Union leaders leave, and he still ends up with Xander. That it doesn't have to be now. Lushu doesn't have to be hands-on with this. But
yeah, of course.
The dialogue.
Milku says Yozora, even though she's kidding. I'm not opposed to that theory.
The dialogue just implies Ven, because they go from look. Okay, this cutscene is called a seed. This cutscene is called a seed of light. The last cutscene is called pure light. And let's read Lushu's dialogue here, not in the JP version. Why do I keep clicking on that? Yeah.
But they've misled us before, because remember, it was like right after Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, and we got those secret reports that there was like a switcheroo. One of the Union leaders isn't like.
Darkness says, "What is that?" He says, "What is that?" in this cutscene. So
what is that?
If he fights Ben, why does he? Okay.
So clearly, clearly not.
But if it
Ventus.
was Ava, he also would have known that it was Ava.
Yeah.
So he would have known if it was Ava, and he would have known if it was Ventus. So that eliminates those two possibilities right now.
So what about Strelitzia?
The thing is with Strelitzia makes like it's not that it's impossible because Strelitzia, honestly speaking,
He could know about Strelitzia because he just straight up murdered her.
That's true. That's
but
true.
would he recognize her corpse? Or
Yeah, he definitely would have recognized something. He's the one that killed her. So,
yeah,
I mean,
but think about it like this though, because if her body faded away, there is a possibility. I don't know if they have this technology here, but to be honest, it seems like key times are more advanced than our times, anyways. But that could be a vessel, a specific type of vessel. We have seen the Kirathi Dream Eater thing before. I'm not gonna lie, Bio did say that in the KH, in our little Discord server we have. So it's I mean, that is a possibility, even with her body being faded away. It could be some vessel, some body just so she can make the jump. Or do you need a body to even take the arc in the first place? Because think about things like cloaked. Why did it lag? Okay, think about things like cloaked Ansem in KH1, for example. I mean.
Well, Maleficent said that Darkness could benefit from going into the Ark because he doesn't have a body, so it's very easy for him to travel.
Mm-hmm.
What did he respond with after she said that? I forget.
He said he wasn't going to go with her because he has some stuff to do.
That's right. That's right.
So, if it is just Strelitzia's heart, it makes sense. Also, I think Strelitzia being a pure dandelion is kind of perfect. Cause I'm not gonna lie, she is definitely like the bubbliest out of all, probably out of all the KH girls, to be honest with you. And even she's definitely seems the most pure out of most of the dandelions. Even besides,
she has mad KH1 Kyrie vibes.
The I don't want to say KH1 Kyrie. KH1 Kyrie is kind of sassy. Strelitzia is straight up like your classic bubbly anime girl. She don't got no sass to her, but she's like I could see Strelitzia being a seed of light. You know, I could see it. I honestly could, and it makes sense. It's weird. I don't know. We could go on to Salabas. We would talk about this forever, but it's just like it's weird.
Okay. So let's see who. Okay, so let's mark out the people we know it can't be at this point in time if we're under that assumption, right? Ventus, it can't be Ventus. It can't be Ava. It can't be Strelitzia. It can't be any of the Union leaders because Darkness knows them all, and the Foretellers as well.
And it can't be us
They appear in
either.
KH3 anyway. So it's like, I don't. Who? Who could it be? I don't know.
I'm telling you guys, it's Luxord. It's Luxord.
Probably. I guess.
I honestly feel like Luxord and Demix are in Dark Road. That's them not showing up in Union Cross makes me think they're in Dark Road. That's my brain.
Isn't Dark Road ending though, or are they stopping?
Yeah,
Dark Road
No,
or something?
Dark Road is basically just Dark Road said screw the chapter stuff. They're just releasing all of their story in September, October. Whenever I think it's September, they're dropping it all then.
Oh.
Kyle said it's the gamer's joint. No wonder he's been absent so long.
Don't say that.
Bro,
And
it's a
Jeff
joke.
Knight, thank you so much for the $1 dono. Why do you send a retracted message for the donation? That's weird. I've never seen that before, but thank you so much. I appreciate that.
But this is another question that I wanted to go over. I tried going over with you, John, but you just did not have an answer. So Limit, what do you think about the crowns, like the 7 crowns?
The 7 crowns. We have too little information to go off of to be able to pinpoint what I could really think about who could be this and what they are, and I don't know, dog. It has to be. I don't know. I really don't know. I could go into speculation, but at the same time,
It has to be
even
one of
I
them.
don't know what I want to say.
The way it sounded like the 7 crowns were just the same thing, different phrasing as like 7 lights.
Yeah,
that's what
too.
it sounded like. So
No, because like Darkness says the 7 pods, the 7 crowns for the 7 lights. So that lets me. So that tells me that the
it's
crowns
7 Soras,
and
bro.
the crowns and the 7 lights are 2 separate things. But then what are the
That's what I mean.
crowns? Because you know
That's on the
everyone's
purpose,
saying
right?
Sora because you know his main symbol is the crown. It's always been the crown. Someone also said it's possible one of them is Yozora because of the whole King of Truth, Vam Rex, Falsus Rex thing.
What cutscene is that in, by the way? Is that in the purpose cutscene?
That's during this cutscene you're watching right now.
Where is it?
It's after the master explains that he's going to be using Lucio as a waypoint. A little further in the cutscene.
7 paws and the 7 crowns for the 7 lights,
Okay, it's coming up.
including your apprentice.
The 7 crowns and the 7 pods for the 7 lights.
Including your apprentice. And
But
he said,
see,
well,
the way I interpreted this scene though was I kind of interpreted that as them talking about the foretellers like themselves as well. 'Cause there's 7 of them, but because they do all kind of return, and Lucio's and the master's like, who knows, when asked about his apprentice, anyone can wind up using them. But
He's
so
talking
that's
about
from
the pods, right?
there.
yeah, he's talking about the pods.
Okay, yeah, all right, my bad. You're more clever. I don't know. This is kind of confusing. I mean,
But
is
even then,
is
when
that
we're talking
even
about
worth
the 7
speculating on
pods,
right now? I'm thinking it's like,
but when he's talking about the 7 pods, it's like only 6 of them are going to be used max because the 7th one was destroyed.
Hmm.
do you guys think the arc can be used to go to Quadratum?
I definitely think so because Xehanort pointed out that it was a very real possibility that Kairi could show up in Unreality.
I don't know if that was for right after she used the arc. I think that was for just at any point during her mission, if she ends up there.
Yeah, I think that's correct. Pretty sure.
But maybe the
Also-
arc could be used to do that.
Also, I'm not sure if using the pods makes you a light, considering that Maleficent used one of the pods, and there's no way she's a light.
Okay, I clicked on Milku's link and it just broke my entire chat box. What did you just send?
Ericus and Xehanort full chess game.
It's funny because the chess game thing's about to be a big theme with this arc. And yo, Lepta, thank you for the additional $1 dono. I appreciate it.
170 of y'all and only 67 likes on the stream. Come on, dog.
Not good proportions.
Come on, guys.
I'm gonna need y'all to at least get it to 100 likes at least.
Come on, we've reached 100 likes on streams with less viewers than this, so we got this.
Y'all know, you know what to do. Y'all know what to do.
30 more likes.
Y'all know how it be.
I'm just say I want every single person in the stream right now. Just hit the like button. Just do it.
Do your boy a favor. Do your boy a
Every
favor.
single person. And do me a bigger favor by subscribing to my friends LimitForm72 and Noir Bomber. So if you guys want to
Hi.
go ahead and
Hi.
check them out, they are both OGs.
Okay, y'all killed it. I see you.
Hey,
I see y'all in the chat.
They're
Okay.
both OGs in the community. Definitely check them out. Limit just
Wait.
upload a pretty good video about Kingdom Hearts 1. So if you want to check that out. Do 'em a
So,
favor.
here's something to point out. So in the end of Xehanort and Ericus's chess game, Sora's piece, which coincidentally is also a crown, is backed up by 7 star pieces. But who would be the 7 stars?
The what?
Remember in Xehanort and Ericus's chess game, when Xehanort was like checkmate, and Ericus is basically cheating, saying, no, not quite," and then he pulls out 7 more pieces.
Well, okay. Now that you think about it, that could have been a reference, but I don't know. That might have just been a reference. That might have just been a reference, because I mean, at that point, he was just cheating, using all the Union Cross people, and Sora did.
Yeah, Ericus
Sora,
is a cheater.
Sora cheated himself too by time traveling, so time traveled and got the past to help him out.
Which that definitely is represented in the chess game because Sora goes backwards and then gets the light of the
We
past.
definitely need more lore about the arc and everything it can do. I think we'll get that though. I think we will. Do you
What
guys,
do you guys
think?
think we're gonna see in the next update? Sorry for cutting you off, but
No, you're
I'm
good.
just very, very interested in what you think's how this is gonna end in the
Okay.
next update.
Here's what I think. Dang. Okay, that's hard. Okay, I think what's gonna happen is we're gonna see Lucio bequeath his Keyblade to one of the 5. 'Cause that has to happen. Remember, as stated in the secret reports to KH3. Lucio's gonna be bequeathing his Keyblade to one of the 5. Who among the 5? I have no idea. One of the 5 though. And we're probably going to get a lot of weird exposition. I feel like there's going to be a lot of talking in the next update. I think there's going to be a lot of talking, or we will see the Master and Lucio again. I think it's basically going to be them racing to get out of the world before it's destroyed, sort of thing. But after that, I do think we'll get a secret ending, and I think the credit scenes is going to be, we're going to see during the credit scenes, we're going to see where all the dandelions, all the union leaders end up. Like during the credits,
That'd be gas.
while it's rolling, we're just going to see Scold wake up in Radiant Garden, assumingly. Brain somewhere, maybe Brain, like, you see Brain old and Scarlet Kylum, I don't know, holding Air Kiss or something weird.
Well, we will probably see like Brain in the Broken Daybreak Town with the Master Defender, and he's probably like gonna try and use the world's keyhole to change it into Scarlet Kylum.
Did I ever find out about that chess piece I was asking about? Nope.
That's a good point. I never thought about that like that.
Because I mean, everybody's been saying, like, since people have been assuming that Ericus is a descendant of Brain, that and I pointed this out before, that the origin of the trick used to turn Land of Departure into Castle Oblivion, maybe that originated from turning Daybreak Town into Scala at Kylum. We could see maybe like Laurium and Elrena wake up and like Zigbar is approaching them. Speaking of which, we haven't seen Elrena in a while.
Yeah, she's been gone.
We have not seen her.
Elrena's about to get washed. Yo, maybe Elrena's in the pod.
Yeah, right?
She's the pure light.
I would not be happy with that. I would not be.
Nah, bro, we stand Larxene out here. I want to hear it.
Something
That's not standing her.
Something definitely happens to Daybreak Town. I just want to know how it gets to that point.
Is the Daybreak Town in the real world like destroyed at all? I
feel like it's about to be, or at least more than it was before, I guess.
Because the world is already set on a predetermined course for destruction. Both Brain and the Master said that.
Yeah, they sure did. Oh, I accidentally stopped the music again.
This is so much to think about. Oh, John, you want to show the bingo sheet I made?
Sure. Gotta send it to me.
Also, two more likes on the video so we can get it to 100, please. Thank you.
Yeah, we're. We just need
Y'all think I'm gonna let y'all forget about that? You're wrong. You better like this video.
Well, I was about to search up something. I forget what I was about to search up. Whatever, I'll remember later. Okay.
Okay, y'all are real. Shout out to you.
Hey, yo, thank you guys for 100 likes. Thank you so much. I appreciate it a lot, guys. Oh yeah, Noir want me to open his bingo sheet. All right, let's look at Noir's bingo sheet. Demix arrives. Xehanort has connection to the player. Well, you're probably looking for a bigger confirmation, right? And yo, Josh with the $10 donation. Yo, thank you. What if each of the crowns? Why'd my music pause again? What if each of the crowns is oh, hold on, I need to switch tabs. I don't have notifications on. My bad. There we are. There we go. I had to switch scenes. Okay. What if each of the crowns is linked to a light and vice versa? Sora x Kyrie makes a lot more sense then. The question is who some other pairs are. Wait, what do you mean? Like, are you saying like the crowns are like pairs of people sort of thing, or?
I think a crown is like just one person, if anything. Oh, I see what you're saying. All right, you're saying that a crown is linked to a light. So the 7 crowns are in a turn linked to the 7 lights. So Sora being a crown would be linked to Kyrie. That's a good question.
Oh. I'd say that's pretty out there personally, but I mean, that's really interesting though for sure.
See, but John, I get bingo if Ava shows up and they show a connection between Xehanort and the player, or if Luke Sword arrives and we see the nameless star.
Alright, did you already fill some of this bingo sheet?
I did on my phone, but yeah, Mom arrives, Vanitas' darkness, and unreality info given. Info in the darkness was shown, and let's see.
That's kind of cheating putting Mom's
unreality info given. I can also check that off.
Nah, that ain't no info.
That was info.
That was not no info. Whoa, no. What did we learn about? Tell me what we learned about Quadratum. Give me one. Give me one fact we learned in Union Cross about Quadratum.
That not even the master knows about it.
That's a fact about the master. That ain't a fact about Quadratum.
No, I'm counting that, bro.
Nah, bro, you cheated. Anyways, Rain revealed to be Ericus's granddad. We see Radiant Garden. I hope we see Radiant Garden. That would be cool. Something Sora related. I'm not gonna lie. When the master was talking about towards the end of that the purpose cutscene, I definitely thought he was about to say Sora. But that's probably the inner Sora stain in me coming. Like when he said he saw something interesting, I was like, yo, say Sora. Set my boy up.
I definitely need Sora to be fated or chosen for something.
Surely if the masters can't conceive it, the fact about Quadratum is it ain't in the book of prophecies. Okay, see, there you go, Moku. That's what Nora should have said.
Thank you, Milku.
Nah, you ain't say that. Don't no.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You ain't say that.
Bro, I'm getting bingo. I
should make myself a little bingo sheet.
Limit, do you have a bingo sheet?
I do not.
You should get one.
When you guys discussed the body carried by Lucio, you didn't mention that those who travel using the pads lose their bodies, but the heart stays intact. How did Ventus's body make it to birth by sleep?
I think we're gonna learn that in the last update because
that does mean he has a vessel prepared for him. I mean, Lucio could. I mean, it wouldn't make that much of a visual difference because the heart turns the vessel into, you know, it. You know what I mean? At least I think that's how that works.
The body takes the form for the heart inside it.
Yeah. But with that in mind, that does beg the question of who had a vessel prepared for Ventus. I mean, Lucio could discard his old body, take someone else's, and like.
We have to remember that Maleficent didn't have a vessel prepared for her when she came back.
Yeah, she had people who remembered her.
She had people who remember, and her body was able to reform.
So is it a thing you need? They say it like you need both in this update though, but Maleficent
you need
kind
both
of
the medium and the intermediary.
Okay, so what is Maleficent's vessel?
I mean, Maleficent was her. It was her cloak, that her raven brought to the three good fairies.
Okay, so I guess is her raven her vessel?
I don't think the raven was her vessel. I think it was just the cloak.
Yeah, if I
considering
can make a
that
bird my vessel, that'd be crazy.
Considering that we still see the raven later in the series because it shows up in Dream Drop Distance.
And yo, Mega Pokemon, thank you so much for the additional $10 dono. I feel like not enough people are talking about the player, to be honest. True. I mean, probably crackpot theory, but would Darkness recognize player? I really am not sure unless I missed something. Food for thought. Well, talking about the player, I'll say this. The player had like the best entrance ever in Union Cross. Only if that was animated. Only if that was animated, that would have been cool. Like that was like I don't know. In my head, it was not like that visually, but in my head, the way they did that transition, the way they just popped up and was just ready to fight was like, I don't know. It gave me flashbacks of the way Sora came into the rescue for Riku in KH3. But I don't know. The player kind of gets some brownie points for that. But how nobody can theorize about the player? It's like
It's hard to do that because
you got any crazy player theories, Limit?
None at all. Like, I'm surprised. I don't know why I found myself to be surprised when I saw the players show up in the first place. I'm like, oh yeah, we're a part of this too. Like, that's how long it's been since I've seen them.
And Justin, thank you for the $5 dono. Xehanort is used to draw. Wait, okay, hold on. Xehanort is used to draw out crowns. Sora in particular. Hey, Noah.
Hi, Justin. So, because I definitely was surprised by the player showing up, because I just assumed that we would essentially serve as like a scapegoat, like we would just be lost in the data world forever or die fighting in a final battle for the sake of protecting everybody. Which that's low key how Kingdom Hearts Key was about to end, with us dying, but then Ephemer came at the last second.
What are they about to do with Ephemer? I feel like it's weird. It feels like they set up Ephemer to be someone like super crazy important, or like, I don't know, they set him up as like, you know, that goody two shoes kid who was always going to be interested in the book and stuff, but I feel like they dropped like almost all of that in Union Cross. Like, Ephemer's character just feels different in Union Cross. I don't know if anyone else feels that way. Even though we didn't see him that much before, but it's like he just feels
weird.
different.
It's weird considering that if some hints and implications we can treat that as fact, the only person in Union Cross, disregarding our player, that is unaccounted for when it comes to going to the present is Ephemer, because like Brain is, you know, Erika's granddad and is probably going to restructure the world. Larium and Elrena don't have to explain that. Same with Ventus. Scold is hinted to be Subject X. Ephemer is the only one that's really unaccounted for with what happened to him when he left the data world.
It will not only grant his heart power and knowledge, unimaginable, but also shape the fate of all. So many points impossibly, and eventually everything will be connected. That's what I gotta say. Mom learned from Sephiroth. What? He says, I need a medium to rebuild my body. People from Advent Children, and someone with memory of him, like Cloud. That's how Sephiroth travels. Maybe the Masters learned from Sephiroth. I don't know about that, but I see the comparison you're making.
Yeah, I would say interesting coincidence, but I'm not sure if that's the thing.
Maybe the person in the white cloak is the Grubhub dad.
Don't say that. Arona hasn't been seen in a long time. Maybe that's who Lucio put in the container. Yeah, we joked about that earlier. I doubt it.
That'd be quite the person to put in that container, and you know, they're boosting up this person as if they're like the most important thing, and it ends up being Orena.
Yeah.
Like, so listing off the people who could be the person in the cloak includes Luxor, Demix, Elrena. Is that it?
Yeah. You know, that is an interesting thought, though. Like, I'm thinking a little bit more about it, because I was thinking about the container stuff. Strelitzia just being a heart inside that arc. She, like, That's interesting. That's really interesting to think about. Like, that could happen. She's just a heart.
Maybe Strelitzia, for one reason or another, was able to find a way to rest inside of her brother, which is why when Larium, or I say Marluxia, activates his whole final boss mode, his Spectre is basically Strelitzia.
And thank you for the additional donation, Eris, Who do you think the 7 crowns are? I don't know.
Sora's got to be one of them. Sora has to be one of them.
It's probably all Soras. It's probably Sora, Yozora, Sora before KH3, KH2 Sora. Let me stop. And thank you for the
Justin
$5
Holland
donation. The additional
says,
Justin.
is Strelitzia connected to Sora somehow? Probably not.
I think if Strelitzia is connected to anyone, she'd be connected to Kyrie. I actually don't. There's no indication to believe so, but like if I had any like just random theory, it'd be that. Like I actually could see Strelitzia being connected to one of like the princesses or something, one of the pure lights. That'd be crazy. Thank you guys for the donations this stream. To be honest, it could be Strelitzia. That would make sense how Laurium had a medium in the present day to get his body back in the present day. Wait, what?
No, I see what they're saying. Because if Laurian's going to try and go to the future, Strelitzia is basically going to serve as the means of getting there for Laurian. And then if Laurian can get there, then so can everyone else.
Wait, what? I don't get it.
So you need someone in the timeline you're going to
Oh, yeah,
to know about you.
You're right. Yep. Well, who remembers Ventus in our current timeline? You know, that memory thing is kind of crazy because you got. What do you think about it?
Well, let's think.
Lushu never had to use the arc though, right? Lushu just kept using body after body after body. So
yeah, he jumped from body to body.
Theoretically, Lushu could just be that for everybody.
Yeah, he can be that for everyone. Yeah, since he's just been there.
No, that
always
could be
watching.
intentional from the master. Actually, that could be intentional.
But
I
they
think
would
so,
have
too.
to know, like they would have to know Lushu, and Lushu would have to know them.
I mean, he knows the dandelions. I'd imagine, probably at least a couple of them. Like, he probably at least knows the Union Blues. Interesting thought is how the foretellers came back. I don't get that. I
think like the second that Lushu picked up the Keyblade and the medium and the intermediary were both together, that's when the foretellers were able to come back, because those two pieces that were required for the foretellers to get to the present finally came together.
I guess.
But if I were to try and list off, going back to who the crowns were, if I were to try and guess, and if it's people that we already know, then I'd say Sora, Yozora, Laurium, Ephemer, Kyrie, Ven, and I have no idea. I have no idea who the last person would be. Maybe Elrena. Maybe.
Limit, what do you think is going to happen in the ending?
I have a tendency to ask questions I don't have an answer to. But let's see here. I guess. Well, I assume we'll just see, as it has been foretold, just the utter destruction of Daybreak Town. I feel like, well, someone's dying. It just has to be that. It just has to be that
Probably
way. Someone
us.
is dying.
Someone.
Besides us, someone is dying.
Most likely Ephemer, to be honest. And
Yeah, Ephemer, and I want to say Brain, but I don't know. We'll see what happens, I guess. But
Wait, did I not say Riku when I listed off the crowns?
no.
Oh, then my bad. Screw Elrena, it's Riku.
I think that's about it. Like, I can't really
honestly,
guess.
yeah. All right, I want to show you guys my birth by sleep combo actually before we end off the stream. I want to see your guys' opinions of it. Now I gotta spice it up a lot more, but this isn't the final product. But if you guys can give me any ideas on how to spice this up, please tell me. All right, hold Hold on. I gotta pull it up. It should be this file. Record this. Okay.
Record this in case I get some.
Like. Look cool.
Alright,
I'll mute
now
the audio,
that's
too.
that's enough.
It should be around here-ish. It's not here. Alright, it's there. Alright. Going to zoom forward by about... about right here. Alright, so tell me what you guys think of this combo. Alright, so I'll put audio on for it.
Justin Holland said Xehanort being used to find the crowns. No, I don't think so.
What is this lag in my stream? Hold on, we gotta redo that. Take off a full screen. Oh, I'm gonna turn the music off.
That was a nasty lag.
I know, that was really weird. Alright, there we go. Here's the combo, boys. This is a Terranort loop you can kind of do. I want to spice up and put some cooler abilities there, but I don't know why. He has a thing where he can stagger infinitely when you do when you punish him off with a shock block, and things like Rock Breaker, if you juggle him with it, really good. There we go.
Justin Holland donated
That's the
another
combo
$5.
right there. And thank you so much, Dustin. I appreciate it. Dang, you guys have been donating a lot. Last live stream, we had someone just randomly drop $40, and that was insane. Xehanort being used to find the crowns. Thought being used to find the crowns. What do you mean by used exactly? Like
Used by the master?
Like,
Well, there has to be a good reason that the master decided to contact Xehanort.
Right.
But I pointed out in I think my latest theory video that Xehanort was acting in a way to protect his reality as well as unreality, because I feel like there's going to be a conflict that's going to put either one or both worlds at risk. And I pointed out that strangely enough, he seemed to focus on 3 particular keys that are probably going to be necessary, because I pointed out that, you know, he helped out Sora in Remind find the last pieces of Kyrie when he had no reason to do so, if you really think about it. And he also, like, even though this was like a memory version of him, he still helped out Kyrie find out where Sora was.
Yeah.
So it's very, very interesting.
I don't know. For me personally, it's like the crown thing. I'm probably not even gonna think about it too much, because, like, for me, it just seems like a different wordage for the 7 lights, similar to how in Kingdom Hearts 3 they switch around between calling them the 7 lights versus the 7 guardians. It's like, yeah. And then you have the 7 princesses of heart as well. So there's like 3 different terminologies already that we use. 7 crowns is just another one of them, but who they are can be a little interesting. But I'm definitely going to need a little bit more info and a little bit more setup for that before I start talking about it too much personally. Though you may see like a speculation here and there about it, but it's not something that's super on my mind. What really is on my mind after this update is who's in that container, because the more I think about it, the more I'm just like, what? What? Like,
You're really gonna lose it.
I am. I'm like, bro, what? This is so weird. That's probably going to be the next video if I'm being honest with you, but look forward to that, guys. But this is going to be the end of the live stream. Before we end off the stream, I want you guys once again to check out my boys Limit Form 72. I'm gonna spam his link in the chat, followed by Noir Le Bomber. Both of them make amazing Kingdom Hearts content. Limit just uploaded a video very recently about Kingdom Hearts 1 you can check out. Noir also has a lot of theories on his channel you can check out as well. So show them both some support. Also, on my end, feel free if you want to join the Discord server. If you love discussions like these, there is almost 2,000 different people on our Discord server that you can talk to that also love Kingdom Hearts. So I'm sure you'll have fun. But that's about it. Other than the normal stuff, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. My name is Prodigy, and I will talk to you guys soon. Peace out, you guys. Bye.